Powerhouse SEC teams are taking down the Lone Star rain delay, and the Big 12 has a new leader.
Knight just threw his chair clear across the free throw lane. Touchdown! Woo! What a hit! You got barbecue back there?
Personal foul. 69. Offense. He was giving them the business.
Right back there. Hold on!
This is the Five Farm and a Lucky Finn podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Kenny. You're watching and listening to the Lucky Finn Innings College Baseball Show. I'm with my good friend Jason the Lucky Finn. Jason, we got some great games to talk about. As of recording, Texas and A&M have still yet to play. We're still in a rain delay. That's a great series. Can't wait to hit on that. But Jason, how are we feeling about this week?
Excited. We have a lot of upsets across the board. A lot of top 10 teams go down. I think it's really going to shake up the standings for next week in the rankings and to see who we have at our top 16 later in the show.
Yeah, we were, even before the beginning of the show, we were still debating on who should take those kind of final spots. But, I mean, that's the beauty of college ball, is just trying to – and, again, the season's still playing out as it is. But overall, really, really good talk. Again, as we mentioned, we've got SEC is looking – I think the SEC is getting really hot. I think that's the thing that I've noticed. And I think it's a real good thing to be afraid of. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's something that we talked about the other day when we were talking about all these teams that are really catching hot with their home runs and just slugging it out. It's interesting to see Florida coming in. They're looking really good. A&M starting to pick it up. And so that just kind of, I don't know, it kind of leads us back to how many teams are the SEC going to get to host regionals. And it's a topic we have every year, and it's a topic we always talk about as we get closer to the College World Series, because it feels like every year they get 4 or 5 teams sitting there in the final 8. So
yeah, and the ACC looks really good this year, and I'm hoping they keep taking these spots. But the way the SEC is playing right now, it's almost like they're going to be coming in taking those spots. But let's jump into it, Jason. Let's talk about our predictions from last week. Let me get it up here if I can. There we go. So let's talk about Florida State and Georgia Tech. We both had Georgia Tech taking the series, but wasn't sure about them sweeping Florida State. Georgia Tech is hot, and I don't think anybody – we talked about it too. Georgia Tech, UCLA, they could honestly flip-flop.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about as the voters are going to be making their decisions this week. But I think the other thing to note here is Florida State had to lead 2 games out of the series and ended up blowing those leads, especially in that first one. They were up 3-1 and gave up the lead. Yeah. Both pitchers in that game were outstanding. McKee for Georgia Tech and Mendez for Florida State were both pitching really well. I know it was a slow start for both pitchers, but then they both picked up in the middle innings. And so it's sad to see both of them end up with a no decision in this one, but tough one and tough ending in that game for Florida State, Kenny. I mean, Florida State gets a steal of second and third. They're feeling good. You got 1 out in the inning and can't get either runner home. And you want to know why? We get a double play to end the game. That
was a really crazy. We've seen really. I'll tell you what. I think Georgia. Somebody stole home, and it was that ACC's ballsy on the bases.
Oh, it was the guy from North Carolina against Campbell.
Yeah.
So
yeah, ACC's ballsy on the plates, man, and that. I think it was a good play. I just don't think the guy on third thought that it was just a weird play overall, because he didn't really rush to throw to first base, and the first guy running to first didn't go all the way through. So I was wondering if he was going to play on the mishandle of a throw. But
honestly, I kind of was shocked that he went home. I know he's got speed, and he also had just stole 30, so he was probably feeling pretty good and feeling pretty confident. Yeah, on that double steal. it's just tough to, you never want the last out to be at third. You never want the last out to be at home either.
Right.
And so it's a tough play, especially, I mean, if you're the next batter coming up, you're thinking you got a chance now to bring in the runs, and you don't even get an opportunity. So it kind of sucks from a morale standpoint. And also, I think it also comes down to, did coach tell him to go, or did he just go on his own? It goes back to that thing that happened with North Carolina. Coach ended up chewing him out for trying to go home on his own.
So we got it.
And also that can impact the morale of a team.
Yeah.
So curious to see how that ends up going. I mean, ended up the rest of the series, they ended up losing both games. So kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, I'll finish up our predictions just in, so we can lay it out, and then we'll kind of jump into the rest. So we both had, I had UCF taking the series. I was wrong. Kansas looks hot. Kansas is good. Kansas takes the entire series. Nebraska and Oregon. We watched that one. A lot of stare downs in that. Both of us had Nebraska taking the series. Got that wrong, but we still got some points on there. We'll tally these up. Texas and Texas A&M. I have Texas A&M sweeping. Jason
to be determined.
Yeah, the what?
To be determined.
Yeah, to be determined. Whenever that, I mean, they said 7:30.
It's showing
it's
still
almost
in a weather
8.
delay.
So I don't see that one popping up. Florida in Georgia. Florida. I'm telling you, we talk about Florida every year. Florida's a game to watch out. And then Jacksonville State. We had Jacksonville State taking the series, and Liberty kind of surprised us. Jason, out of all these games, what's one surprises you, I guess, the most?
Yeah, the sweep for Kansas against UCF. So I expected Kansas to win this series. They already came in hot, but they had won 5 of their last 6, scoring double-digit runs. We discussed that a little bit in the midweek episode. But in this series, they don't score 10 runs at all in any of these games. Pitching really showed up for them in this series, and that's really strong for Kansas to go atop the Big 12 to take the lead. So, I mean, I think that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the season for the Big 12 now. Kansas with the edge.
Yeah, they've got a 10-game winning streak right now, and they play Wichita State on Tuesday, and then they have Oklahoma State over the weekend. So, Kansas, I think, would be a really cool way to see them. And we don't think of Kansas with baseball, so
no.
And we'll show you later on. I mean, we might have Kansas possibly hosted. So
it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but we'll leave that to y'all. But Jason, can we talk about Florida State and Georgia Tech? I think we talked about it for a little bit, but I don't think we went into full detail. Or you think we are?
I think we're good on that. I think everybody sees that. I think the other thing to talk about is that Oregon-Nebraska. So we talked about it a little bit. The starting pitcher, Clark, for Oregon, decided to do a little stare down in the 3rd inning on a comebacker. And then, Kenny, we talked about this. What was it? The Auburn-Alabama game. You have an issue, shortstop, second baseman or shortstop, whoever it was, arguing with the guy that just got into second, and then they blow the game. Well, Clark is on the mound, and it was 5-0. They were winning, and
I think it was 4, and it was just this little jam shot liner to the back to him.
And then next inning.
I think it was the next pitch he gave up. The next pitch he gave up the I think it was a double or a single right down the line.
A hit. Yeah, it was a triple. I thought it was a triple, but they didn't get that run in. Then the next inning is when they kicked off all their runs, and they end up getting 3 home runs on him, and 3 of 4 batters hit home runs, and I think they end up taking the lead. Nebraska does 6-5 in that game, and this was game 2, right? Game 2, it was the game they ended up winning.
Yeah.
So Nebraska ends up coming back.
Yeah, I still don't. And again, I said, if karma is such a big thing in baseball, and I don't understand the stare downs at all, because you are, again, a single pitch from giving it away, and he did. And we laughed at the fact that they kept him in too. They kept him in the next inning.
Yeah.
And and they just kept giving up the runs. But Oregon saves the series, so Oregon took the game today. Or was that? Yes, they didn't do a doubleheader.
No, it was today.
No.
Oregon took the last game, the rubber match today.
Yeah. So
Nebraska was up in that game and gave it up. Oregon was the one who came back today to win the series. So
yeah. So Nebraska is USC, and then Oregon goes to the mighty Illinois baseball team. So that's a great series, I guess you could say. Not really, but
I think what's next, Kenny, is the crazy Georgia-Florida series. You touched on it when we were talking earlier this week that this was really going to be the test for Florida. They're coming in, playing really well. How good actually are they? Their pitching staff really showed up this weekend, and I know it was a slugfest on the game today, but Aiden King looked awesome in the first game. We'll discuss that a little more later. And Georgia comes in clutch in the second game. So what do you think of Florida taking down Georgia?
Look, we hinted, I think, last episode that what SEC baseball is power hitting. It's power hitting, it's power pitching. Florida is like the greatest definition of power baseball when it comes to the SEC. If they are going to get a hold of your pitches, there's no doubt about it that Florida will be taking you yard. They are such a good hitting team. I don't care if they're ranked, they're not ranked. What is their ranking now? I think we have it up here. I mean, not ranking. Their record. Their record SEC wise doesn't show that they're great. That they're doing well.
9-6.
9-6.
They're sitting fourth.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're that scary team, and I think Florida did this last year or one of the years where they weren't great during the regular season, and then all of a sudden they're at the top. So Florida's a team to watch out for. I'm not gonna discount Georgia out of here right now. Again, that's a good program. But I mean, who knows? Who knows with Georgia, and who knows with Florida?
Yeah, I think especially for Georgia, they still sit atop the leaderboard in the conference. So that's good to see, even with the series loss. That just goes to show you how far ahead they were. But coming in today, they had only given up 2 home runs in 50 innings of SEC play. And then in the first 2 innings, can he give up 3 home runs? I think that, like you were talking about, the power hitting, and Florida really opened it up today. Talk about our boy Yost, how he did today.
Yeah, Yost, I believe the broadcasters were saying that he was like, he could be wrong. He was batting 100. Like, he's not batting that great.
Yeah.
And then he hit a record. He's hit a career best 2 home runs in a game. So he's up on the he goes yard twice. It's his first time in his career. That's incredible. It's just, and that's coming through when you really need it, and that's what these teams, you kind of see that through when they get to the end of the year. You have these guys that you can't sleep on them. You really can't sleep on them, or they'll come in and clutch and hit you. So,
especially with him being a guy that bats at the bottom of the lineup, he was leadoff. He was the 9-hole against Florida State in the weekday, and he was the one who opened up the scoring in the 3rd inning with his first home run of the year. So he opens up that home run, gets 2 today, and it kind of just when you think about college baseball, you don't always think of 1 through 9 being dangerous. But when you've got an 8 or 9-hole hitter hitting like he is right now, you can't take that guy out of the lineup, and that just feeds for your pitching staff to know that their offense is producing for them. It's confidence.
And to hit on that, Florida's not the only team that kind of does that. LSU would have Stanfield batting ninth, and I think he's up at first. Yeah, and that's where a lot of teams. One of the announcers had mentioned it. Maybe putting your best hitter in the. And honestly, I've always thought about that. Why, teams don't put their really clutch, like what we call consistent hitter batting ninth. Just to kind of get that. If you're at the bottom of that lineup, you want to get it started. So, props to Hayden and props to that Florida team. Georgia has Arkansas this week. And then Florida hosts Auburn. So those are 2 pretty good series that you can kind of calculate where they're really at for that series. So,
Kenny, am I reading this right in the notes? Did Florida really out-homer Georgia 6-0 in this series?
yes.
No, right? I thought Georgia hit a home run today.
No, if they hit it today, probably so, because I added that while I think their game was going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we mentioned Georgia didn't even get really any home runs through that game, through the series, and besides last week when they were hitting all the home runs. But you'll have to double check me on that. Yeah,
I'm checking it now because
while you look that up, let's jump into the next one. I think we'll.
They did not. None of these were home runs. That is impressive. That tells
Florida's
you a lot about the
pitching staff. Like I'm telling you, they're one of those hidden teams that it's just they got the guys on the team. I hate Florida, and that's probably why I hate Florida more. I mean, I hate Florida, period, because Florida. But especially in baseball, man, it's just like so.
Yeah, and they improved to 10-1 against ranked opponents on the season. It's funny because just a couple weeks ago we were even talking, should Florida even be in the top 25? And like you're talking about the SEC, there's so many strong teams. Every week you have an opportunity to reprove yourself after having bad losses. Some programs don't get that luxury. Southern Miss doesn't maybe get that luxury. Coastal Carolina doesn't get that. Oregon State doesn't get that, being an independent. But the SEC, I mean, we'll see guys. I mean, Mississippi State was number 4 before last week. They get swept against Georgia, swept this week. See how far they fall in our rankings later. But, I mean, that just jumps right into these other notable series that went down this week.
Yeah, and I think this is why we really love to hit all of this because, Tennessee lost the series to LSU. LSU goes and loses the series to Ole Miss. I mean, excuse me, we get swept. The Sun Belt and the Fun Belt and the American Conference, those are the games we got to be watching. Keeping an eye on East Carolina losing the series to Tulane. Any surprises up here to you? Besides Southern Miss losing to Louisiana?
Man, that Tennessee sweep is big. So this is a Tennessee team who had been leading in a lot of games late, and their bullpen was not performing well, and they were blowing leads. For them to get a sweep at Mississippi, and this is another one. Georgia went to Mississippi State. Tennessee now goes to Mississippi State, and they get a sweep of Mississippi State. So I don't know if this says more about Tennessee or does it say more about Mississippi State, Kenny? Which one do you think?
I think it says a lot more about Mississippi State. I think it says Tennessee may be figuring things out. I mean, again, like you said, they've blown a ton of leads. But this could be just one of those weird bumps in the roads that a team hits. But again, Mississippi State losing the series to Tennessee is not really going to help them. I believe they'll probably drop back pretty big. Probably not. Maybe around 11, maybe 11 or 12. But no, that was that at Mississippi State or
it was at home.
Not better. But
yeah. They go to South Carolina though next week, an opportunity to get some wins. They need that series.
Yeah, they definitely got to bounce back. We're getting at the end of the season here, so. But other games on here, I mean, Coastal Carolina. That's kind of a team that's still on that outside of the bubble. I feel like they got a lot more to prove for them to moving up. You don't want to slip on them. We love talking about UC Santa Barbara. UC Santa Barbara's getting over San Diego. Now we talked about San Diego blowing that. They're blowing the lead, or was it a comeback on game 2?
They blew the game in game 2. UC Santa Barbara dropped 3 runs in the 9th inning to tie the game up to send it to extras, and then Santa Barbara ended up winning in the 11th inning, the 11-10 final. So, and for them to come back and win today as well. I mean, not come back. They just, they won today after dropping the first one in the series to win the series 2-1. That's huge for them, especially after winning that game against USC in the midweek this week. So the Outlaws are playing well. Another opportunity for the Big West to shine on this show. So we love to talk about them.
Hey, definitely a regional team. We'll see. I'm sure they'll be out west, or knowing how the NCAA does it, they like to send one team that's not even regionally close to another region. So it's like sending LSU to Oregon. I'm sure we'll somehow get that. But Jason, it's your favorite time. Jason, you come up. Let's talk about our Arms of the Week. How about that?
Is it our Arms of the Week, or did you have a trivia question, Kenny?
I do have a trivia question. We love trivia questions. Let me see if I can figure out how to get our trivia question up here. Here we go. Oh my goodness, we're clicking through.
We got so excited to talk about Notable Series as we forgot to go show you guys our trivia question that you can think about.
Well, you came up with it.
Who were the only two mid-major programs to win back-to-back titles? So this isn't the same program winning back-to-back titles, but there were 2 years where two mid-major programs won titles in back-to-back years. What were the two programs and what were the years? And honorable mention will tell you fun facts of which conferences they were representing at the time.
Am I answering this now, or am I answering it
No,
later?
you're not. We'll look at it at the end. There's one of the teams is still in the same conference. The other one is in a different one. So something to think about.
That doesn't help at all.
It doesn't. But it'll be fun to discuss later, considering what we were just talking about. Little hint.
All right. Well, let's jump into the arms. How about that? About the lucky arms?
We can definitely talk about some 5 arms. So as the 5 arms in a Lucky Finn show, we got our 5 arms of the week. So I'm gonna butcher one of these, I'm sure. But first, we got our St. Louis senior pit right-hander, Ben Chirico.
Chirico.
Look, it's some sort of Italian name. I'm not the expert. I'm sure there's a rolling R in there. I cannot roll my tongue like that. So I'm just going to call him Ben because he's our boy Ben. He's 6'4", so he's Big Ben. So we got Big Ben out there. He threw a complete game shutout, 2-hitter, 10 strikeouts on only 106 pitches, Kenny. So what do you think of 9 innings, only 106 pitches? What does that say to you?
Efficiency. It sounds like efficiency.
It is efficiency. We got 9 flyouts, 8 groundouts. The only 2 hits in this game were a bunt in the 3rd inning.
That doesn't count.
That just comes right back to the pitcher. The little bunt single, and then a ball that grounds through a seeing eye single through the left side. So we're not seeing a lot of hard contact from George Washington in this game. So I know there's 2 programs we don't ever discuss. So we wanted to shout out the complete game shutout by Ben, just Big Ben. So next we got a big game by Georgia. We discussed the Georgia and Florida series a little bit.
My bad. I noticed my Georgia logo's too down, so I tried moving it. And I just clicked the next line.
No, you're good. We discussed that Florida and Georgia series earlier, so we want to highlight 2 performances in here that are on the screen. One of them was Aiden King. We discussed a little bit on Friday. He opened up with 6 perfect innings against Georgia. That is huge to open up the series and really set the tone for Florida to end up winning that series. But also, we on Saturday, so after Florida wins that game 1, Georgia knows they need to come back, right?
Yeah.
So we got Dylan Vigu comes in and pitches 6 innings, ends up with a no decision. He only gave up 1 run. It was after a walk to start the 3rd inning, gets a single, ends up scoring a run. So not the end of the world there. But then Caden Aoki, we should. I'm assuming I pronounced that right. It's Yeah. He ends up coming in, finishing out the game, gets the win, improves to 4-0 on the season. But he comes in 3 innings, gives up only 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and so that's in a big 5-1 win for Georgia. So some other ones we wanted to highlight was another 1-hitter complete game by Keenan Anzai. We got some pronunciations here. So he gets a 1-hitter. Kenny, he did that in only 102 pitches. What does that say?
Okay. That sounds
like the efficiency.
That sounds like efficiency.
And then want to shout out Logan Redmond for UCLA. Tough no decision in this one. Gets 18 strikeouts and 8 innings pitched. I mean, we're talking about, when you really want to put that in perspective, only 6 outs were balls put in play. Isn't that crazy, Kenny? It only gave up 2 hits and 1 run. So they end up getting 1 walk, 18 strikeouts. That's an 18-to-1 ratio, and only 104 pitches. So this was really efficient from him in 8 innings of work. Sucks to get the no decision, but UCLA ended up prevailing in 14 innings.
Yep.
And then I want to slide in an honorable mention, Kenny. We don't have enough room for the 5 arms because we're not 6 arms. We're just 5. So maybe our lucky pin of the week, honorable mention, is Mason Edwards from USC. He had 16 Ks on Friday and 8 1/3 on only 117 pitches, and he is the nation's leader in strikeouts with 95. So Mason Edwards for USC, that's another opportunity for USC to make the board.
Yeah, I like that USC has that kind of hard pitching staff over there. And you got to watch this Caden guy for Georgia. I like watching him play. He's a confident. A couple of years ago, he was up on the mound like strutting like this, like, all right, come on, struck out the side and just put his arms and looked at the dugout. The dude is so confident.
Is he a starer?
I think he's a respectful starer. I think, and what I mean by that is he knows it's a confident stare because he knows that he's in the other team's head regardless. And it's not like a dude where like the other team's actually touching you, dude. Like he's actually really hitting the ball well, but you're like, okay, I kind of need to get my mojo back and then immediately give it up. But no, he did none of that. But I'm glad we're highlighting the pitchers, not just the hitting, because you and we always talk about how the hitting is not that, or the pitching is kind of off. But
off and sometimes makes or breaks series in games.
Oh, yeah. So. Well, Jason, I guess we're getting close to wrap this up. Let's jump into who will be possibly hosting regionals. Kick us off.
Yeah, so it's hard to move UCLA out of the number 1 spot, but here's the difference in this week, right? We got Georgia Tech jumping up to 2. We got series losses by Texas, Georgia. We also got losses by Alabama. We got losses by Southern Miss.
Yep.
So there's a lot of teams that were up there sitting in that top 8 that we discussed last week that kind of fell off, and it's hard to move some of these teams around. To me, the biggest thing that stands out is it's hard to move Oregon State and Coastal Carolina, Kenny. What do you do with these two?
I don't think you move Oregon State up anymore. I think Oregon State needs to stay at a 6. And at 6 is the highest I think they need to be going. Yeah. Because they're really just playing all these whack schools, whack as in the Western Athletic Conference, not as in how they play. But Coastal, like I think I said earlier, Coastal I think is good where they're at. I think Coastal will move up here and there. And I think it's funny because we talked about the last kind of, that was the last like 25 of kind of who's finding in there. And we switched a lot of teams in and out here. We were kind of on the fence about Southern Miss, and you and I have, you said Kansas maybe deserves a little bit more. And you said who else? Little Nebraska, little Cornhusker?
Oh, yeah. Last week we had Nebraska sitting in here. They slip out after their loss to Oregon. But I think the ones that are tough right there is Arkansas after getting a sweep. Arkansas sitting on the outside looking in. Boston College is right there sitting on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. We got, and then Ole Miss with the sweep over LSU, our beloved Tigers. Sad to see. Yeah. But, this pushes them right into that outside looking in. You still got West Virginia. So there's a lot of programs. UCF loses the series to Kansas, so it's like they kind of slip out, but you still have to think about them. They're still sitting at number 2. They still won that series over West Virginia. So like we talked about, it's that 14-16 is going to be tough, but hosting a regional is way better than going on the road, right, Kenny?
Oh, 100%. I think what people might comment on this is I believe Auburn is, and I've said this before, Auburn is a fence team. Like, they've got such a tough schedule, and they haven't kind of established themselves in that schedule to be like, okay, Auburn can really handle this. They got a good team. I think they're just getting they're just not getting what they need to be getting there. So, yeah, I think this is a good look.
Yeah, I think some other people that would be upset possibly is if Texas A&M ends up sweeping Texas. How far up do they jump at all off of that? But I think the key thing is you want to be in that top 8. Not only do you want to be in the 16 because you want to host a regional, but you also want to be able to host a super regional if you get there. Yeah. So it's interesting, if for whatever reason this ended up being tomorrow's rankings, I mean, we would have Oregon going to UCLA. So, some of those regional matchups are also going to be something we always want to think about.
I think that should. I think if that is the case, then leave Oregon State at 6 or higher, because prove to them that they should have never broken up the Pac-12. That UCLA should have done all that. So who knows? Who knows? But Jason, let's go back to your trivia question while we wrap this up.
Oh, yeah.
Before we even say anything, Texas and Texas A&M have not started yet. So if you're listening and you have not heard anything about the game, that game has not started. But back to the trivia question: who are the only 2 mid-major programs to win titles back-to-back years? Okay, if I'm thinking mid-major, it cannot be Coastal Carolina. No, because they've only won 1. Okay, they've only won 1. That's a terrible.
You're correct.
Coastal Carolina's won?
No, you're correct that they're not. They're not in this.
No.
They won. Okay. Now, I will say, fun fact, they won the last one that a mid-major won in 2016.
God, it's been 2016.
So so you got to go back further.
Did Fresno get close to going to 2? I know Fresno's gotten 1.
Fresno won in 2008.
Okay. Rice.
I believe it was 2008 because Rice is 1.
Rice. Okay, Rice. Okay, Rice is playing pretty good ball.
So do you remember what year that was?
Was it 2004?
No, it was not. That was the second winner. The second winner was in 2004.
Rice
was 2003.
2003. Okay. 2003. 2004.
Think of your West Coast, Kenny. We like to talk about the West Coast.
Is it Cal State Fullerton?
It is Cal State Fullerton from what conference? They're the one that hasn't moved.
Are they WAC?
No.
California Coast Conference?
They're in the Big West.
Oh, the Big West.
There's a Big West. UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, UC San Diego. That's the Big West. Cal Poly. So if we flash it up there, so Rice ends up winning. They represented the WAC back in 2003.
Okay.
And they beat Stanford 2-1 in the series final. Then the Cal State Fullerton, I believe they're the Titans.
Yeah, they are the Titans.
Cal State Fullerton Titans, representing the Big West, swept Texas in the final 2-0.
Woo.
So
I believe that's the year they beat LSU pretty bad in Omaha. I'm pretty sure they beat them pretty bad. Let me look it up really quick, because I remember Fullerton just taking one from LSU pretty hard.
I think the cool thing is about Fullerton is they not only hosted a regional in this year, they also hosted a super regional, and I'm really hoping to see another Big West program make it up to that kind of level again. It's great for baseball to see those teams out there hosting regionals. I mean, they just have beautiful ballparks, beautiful weather out there. So I feel like every time, not just LSU, but a lot of these coastline East Coast teams, I feel like we always end up with rain delays. So
yeah, especially over there. You know what? I'm looking this up right now. Okay, let's see. So LSU lost. Okay, 9-5. Damn, it's just. Oh, okay, not very good this year. So the final was. So we had Arizona, we had Georgia, Arkansas, Texas, Cal State, Fullerton, South Carolina, LSU, Miami. That was pretty good.
That was the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good group.
Yeah, that's a really good group. Yeah, Rice is doing pretty good this year, but I agree. I'm wishing that maybe NIL or something kind of changes the college landscape where those teams kind of have a bigger fighting chance again. So,
yep. Well, ahead of time, Kenny, apologies to A&M fans. We didn't talk too much about you guys, about your revenge series, but we're also waiting for it to end.
Did I forget to mention the A&M series?
No, we talked about it briefly. We didn't really talk about it. We didn't really get into it, but we also sat there talking about how we're still stuck in the rain delay. We'll discuss it a little more in the midweek, how this game ends up, and we'll get out our broomsticks if we need to show
we
you
better
guys
get out the broomsticks. I want my points. Points.
Well, since we're waiting for it, let's predict it. Who you got tonight?
Well, this is a long weather delay, so I'll do the score. I have Texas winning. No. Texas A&M. I got Texas A&M winning 8-4. 8-4. The bubbles will be bubbling.
All right. I got Texas winning this one. Not because I don't like A&M. I think they're playing really well. I just think I would love to see them sweep Texas. I think it would be good for A&M, but I also think it's just hard to sweep anybody. It's hard to pick anybody to go 3-0. But I would love to see you be right on your prediction.
I would love to be right on my prediction.
So we'll see what happens, though.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, we appreciate y'all checking in to watch. A really good episode, I feel like, today. Catch us during the midweek. Jason, first of all, quick props. Round of applause for Jason for being solo last week. I know it wasn't easy for you, but
it's not easy. First solo show.
I'll be out of town. Jason, I'm definitely will be there with you, but I'm heading to San Diego. Maybe I should check out UC San Diego, maybe. They play San Diego State. Okay.
Is that a rivalry game? Go find out.
No, it is not. I missed the rival game. That was San Diego, University of San Diego. So
interesting. Okay.
But other than that, guys, appreciate y'all for watching. My name is Kenny. This is Jason Hyde. This is the 5 Arms of Lucky Finn podcast. Thanks for watching. See you.
The 5 Arms